guys, so today I'm here for a 7 on Sunday. So this week's topic is books you were spoiled for, and this is a great topic, but probably not a great topic for me. Because years ago I had the very bad habit of self-sabotaging and spoiling the books for me, where I would just look at the end to see what was going to happen because I had no chill. And honestly, a lot of the time I get anxiety when I don't know what's going to happen to a character, and if I can't read it quick enough, I have a look just so I can be like relaxed and know that everything's gonna be okay, or it's gonna be really, really bad. And to let you guys know, I hardly do this anymore. Like, it happens sometimes, but I don't do this as much as I used to, where I would literally skim read the book just to see what was going to happen, where I like barely do it now. Like, sometimes if I accidentally look at something at the back and then I might look a bit longer, I'm like, shit, I shouldn't be doing this, but I've seen it now, might as well keep going. But it rarely happens now, and I really don't have the impulse to check what happens at the end of a book anymore. And also for the fact too that sometimes social media will spoil things for me, but I'm actually not that offended by spoilers because I'm so used to looking for them for myself. It's also really bad too because I will look up like synopsises for TV shows, and if I find out stuff about what happens in them, I'm not that offended. Like, if I know who's going to be the couples or what's the plot going to do, or like I'll literally read episode descriptions because I just don't like to be surprised. And I know it's really, really bad, but I still read and watch the things that I see, so it's not like it's bad for me because like I'm not gonna like not watch something because I know what's gonna happen. So there's a couple of books in this list that I spoiled for myself, but social media can also be like a real bitch because it will spoil things for you, but I'm really not that offended by spoilers. So if social media does spoil things for me, it's like, oh shit, that's annoying, but okay, like now I know. There's some things that I definitely know I don't want to be spoiled for. Like, generally I try and not get spoiled for Sarah J. Maas or Cassandra Clare, but other stuff's kind of fair game where I don't really care. But this list was hard for me to make because it blurs really badly for things that I just found out on my own or things that people told me or accidentally spoiled. So it is a bit of a mix of everything here, and I'm excited to get into this list. And please don't hate me for this behavior because it is really, really bad, but it still happens to me. So the first two I was spoiled for, I'm pretty sure I remember being spoiled for these ones. But the first one is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. So I like don't want to spoil people, so if you haven't read any of these books, I probably wouldn't keep watching and like wait until I put the book down to skip to the next bit in the video because I wouldn't want to spoil people. Like, I'm not going to say like major spoilers, but like even an inkling of something can make you think, and then you'll be spoiled for it anyway because you kind of figure it out on your own because you get a hint. So I wouldn't want to like spoil anyone in that way. But to get into Cinder, basically what spoiled me is everyone was talking about the lost princess trope. So it's kind of a given that Cinder is going to be the lost princess in the story, and then there's not really any like excitement of trying to figure out what's going on because I'm half and half. Like, I want to know, but then I also love the journey of discovering what's going to happen and have theories. It's only about 10% of the books that I read now where I just look anyway because I just need to know. But with this one, it was really annoying to find out that information, and because the lost princess is such a common trope and you always know who it's gonna be, and whenever there's a hint of a story about a lost princess, it's like, okay, I think I know about this. But yeah, everyone was really raving about this trope in this book, and it really did spoil it. The next book I want to talk about is Allegiant by Veronica Roth, because no one could keep their chill about the ending of this book, and it really annoyed me because I was so against what happened at the end of this book, and I had to still read it knowing what was going to go down, and it's just like, why? It still shits me. And honestly, it was really annoying though for people to tell me, but in hindsight, if I was gonna just read this and find this out on my own, it would have hurt a lot more. But yes, it just was very annoying that it had to get spoiled, but I also hated the ending, so it's a whole thing. Okay, the next three I definitely spoiled for myself because I just needed to know information about them because it was just too much. But the first one is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, and honestly this didn't start out with me wanting to spoil it, but literally I was doing my reread of the whole series and I still had to finish Tower of Dawn, so I was like 3 weeks late after this book got released, and literally a couple of days after this book got released it was all over social media. Like, literally every spoiler ever was on social media, so I only saw a couple of things, but then it got really bad because I still had to sort them them out, and I was looking at the things that had the spoiler warnings on them, and I was checking out everything. So literally every detail of this book that was an important moment I knew about before I actually went into the book, and it really did make for a kind of shitty experience because I don't like to spoil myself for Sarah J Maas novels because I love her books and I know it's going to be a wild ride and a very exciting time, but it really shitted me that the final conclusion of the series, no one could keep their chill and literally not wait a couple of months before you started posting spoilers, because it's just plain rude. And this was a half and half because I never planned on it, but because I got a little bit of a taste of it, that's when I started to sort it out. The next book on my list is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and J. Kristoff. This was purely for the basis that I was so scared that they were like gonna die, like someone was gonna die, so I wanted to look at the back of the book to prepare myself for that, and it definitely helped me with my reading for the rest of the book because I could kind of relax. So I do seriously get such anxiety when I'm worried about people that are gonna die, because when you have such a good group of characters, someone's bound to die, and most of the time it doesn't happen. And I am of the opinion that authors should try and have more murders in their books because they need to be a bit more ruthless, but also like keep everyone alive. Like, I'm gonna be sad if people die, but then when no one dies, it's kind of like, well, that was a bit anticlimactic. Why would the 6 main characters survive but everyone else dies? Like, it does get to that point where I am hypocritical on both sides of this argument because I agree with both sides, but the anxiety that I feel is sometimes too hard, and I really could not contain it with Obsidio, so I had to look, and I did find out what happened at the end, and I was very happy and like I could be less freaked out. So it was bad, but it happened. The next one is For City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I had to Google this to know that the incest was not real, because you read the first book and it's like, excuse me, the fuck? Like, what are we reading here? So I had to Google it, and when they said they aren't siblings, I could read a lot better, but it's still cringy reading it when they think that they're brother and sister, but they like each other, and I'm like, what? Like, gross. And I just one that everyone should check out. If you have not read it, just know that there is no incest, because this is a stupid ass plot point to actually put in a book, and everyone needs to know about this. And this is one of the things that I just don't know how people thought this was okay when this book came out, and why it still got as popular as it did, considering that this was a thing in the book. So they are like the 5 solid ones that I have, but these next 2 are a bit of a cop-out because I just literally couldn't think of any other books that I've been spoiled for, because everything's just blurred into one of just being read or unread or spoiled or not spoiled. Like, I don't know anymore. So Outlander is one I'm putting on my list because I started to read this book. I'm still up to page 147 after 2 years, but I started reading it and I wanted to read the book before I watched the TV show, but I read 150 pages and then my parents wanted to watch it, so we watched the first season. So basically I have spoiled myself for what happens in this book because I've watched the first season but I actually haven't carried on, because the ending of that series is always going to be a really hard thing to watch, and it's so awful what happens to Jamie. But I haven't continued on reading, and I'm not actually sure I want to read these because they're so dense, and I bought the second 2 and I just don't know. And I still need to continue on with the show, but it's kind of hard too, because once you watch a show and then you need to read the book still, you kind of don't want to because you've already been spoiled because you know the source material. So it is a bit of a cop-out answer, but it works. And my other cop-out answer is for Harry Potter, because I've seen all 8 movies but I've only read the first book, so I've been spoiled for basically everything that happens in all of the books. Like, there is obviously going to be things that didn't happen in the movie that are in the books that I'll be excited to read about. It's more fun when, like, say a movie comes out and then you read the first book, and then as you continue on with the series, then you get to pick up new things. But all these movies are out, like everything has been done, like I know everything about this basically, and there's not going to be any surprises really. So it is like I have been spoiled for the book by myself watching the movies. This was just a really hard list to compile, and I feel like I'm getting judged by all of you for my weird reading habits that I do know that I need to change, and it's a bad thing. Just please don't judge me, because like I'm trying and I still enjoy reading. It doesn't really affect my reading that much, which is a good thing. Like, sometimes I'll be a bit upset if I find out something really cool and I was like, oh, I gotta try to figure that out, because I do like reading like thrillers sometimes, but also then it's like really hard because I want to know. Like, I'm just such an impatient person. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. It was very fun to film, but also very like confronting because of how bad I am as a reader. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!